Rashi Ekev and Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 12. V'haya Ekev tishme'un. And the word Ekev is a very difficult word to translate. We'll see how Rashi translates it. And I'm wondering how Rabbi Steinsaltz translates it. But the words V'haya, what will be tishme'un, if you will listen. So the word Ekev, we have to see what it means. Esa mishpatim ha'ela. If you listen to these mishpatim, these laws, ushmartem v'asitem osam, and you watch them and you do them, v'shamar Hashem elokecha lecha, and God will watch for you as habris v'esachesed, the covenant and the kindness asher nishbal avotecha, that He swore to your forefathers. No, it's very different. Ekev and Echa. Well, let's see what. Hold on, Jerry Sheckman has something too. Yes, Jerry, what would you like to say?
Yes, on the heels of, as a consequence of the last verse, verse 12 in the previous parsha.
So the last verse was verse 11, right? So Ekev is Rashi's going to connect it to the word heel, but it's not clear that that's the pshat, that's the literal explanation. Curious, how does Rabbi Steinsaltz translate that word, the first verse? How does Rabbi Steinsaltz?
It shall be. Because you heed these words.
That heed is tishma'un and it shall be is v'haya. How is he translating Ekev?
I'm not sure. And observe and perform.
Oh, no, he's translating it as because. V'haya Ekev tishma'un, because you will hear. So he's translating it as because. So that's Rabbi Steinsaltz as key, like because. But let's see what he says. Rashi's approach is as follows. Rashi says, it's a very beautiful Rashi. Rashi says that it means im hamitzvot hakalot shadam dash ba'kevav tishme'un. If you listen to the minor mitzvot, which a person tramples on with his heels, Rashi connects it to the word heels, which is it's not the pshat, but it is connected to the word Yaakov. So if you listen even to the minor commandments, then v'shamar Hashem elokecha lecha, then God will watch over for you et habrit v'et hachesed, the covenant and the kindness. God will guard His promise to you. So Rashi understands it as the heels. If you listen with even those commandments which you step upon with your heel. Says the verse, Va'ivcha uverachacha v'irbecha, and God will love you and bless you and multiply you. Uverach privitnecha ufriad masecha, and God will bless the fruit of your fruit of your womb, and the fruit of your land, and degancha, your grain, v'tiroshcha, and your wine, v'yitzarecha, your oil, shagar alafecha, v'ashtarosanecha, the offspring of your cattle and the herds of your flock, on the land which Hashem your father swore to give to you. Let's see what Rashi says this means. Shagar alafecha. Rashi says this means Vladei bikarcha, the offspring of your cattle. Shanekeva mishager mimeah, which the female sends forth. Ashtarot sonecha, Rashi says this means an expression of abirei bashan, like the best of your flock. Uncle is translated as the herds of your flock. And the rabbis say, why are herds called ashtarot? Because it's related to the word osher, shema ashrot et balein. They make their owners wealthy. So ashtarot sonecha means the best of your flock. And then it says, verse 14, if you do this, baruch tia mikol amim, you will be the most blessed of all your nation, of all the people. There will not be amongst you a barren male or female amongst you or your animals. Rashi says barren is she'eino molid, one who does not give birth. Okay. Ve'yisir Hashem mimcha kol choli. God will remove from you all illnesses, v'chol madvei Mitzrayim haraim, and all the maladies, the bad maladies of Egypt, asher yadata, which you know, lo yisimam bach, will not put upon you, unisanam b'chol sonecha, and he will put them upon all your enemies. So Rashi says, what does this mean? Rashi does not comment on this. Va'achalta et kol ha'amim, and you will consume all the nations, asher Hashem Elokecha notein lach, which God, Hashem your God, gives to you. Lo tachosein chalehem, do not have pity, your eyes should not have pity upon them. Lo tavod et Eloheim, you shall not worship their gods, ki mokeshu lach, because it's a snare to you. Verse 17, ki tomar bilvavcha, lest you say in your, or perhaps you'll say in your heart, Rabim hagoyim ha'ela mimeni, these nations are too numerous for me. And now here's your word, Aviva, echa ucha lohorisham. How will I be able to drive them out? We'll do one more verse and then come back to the Rashi. Lo tira mehem, do not be afraid. Zachor tiskor et asher asa Hashem Elokecha et Paro u'chol Mitzrayim. You shall remember everything that God did for you, to Pharaoh, and to all the Egyptians. Let's see what Rashi says here. When you say in your heart, Rashi says the word he here means, hello Moshe, how are we doing? Everything good? Baruch Hashem. So we're what page are we on, Aviva? What? 991. 991. So the word ki can mean four things in the Torah. So Rashi here tells us, Al Korchach Lashon Dilmo, that the word, hello Ilan, did you get a chumash? What? Okay, did you get a chumash, Ezra? What happened to Mr. Sheinkopf? He dipped? What'd you say? So you turned around? Okay, fine. All right. So the word ki can mean four things. Hello, Greg. Great to see you. I haven't seen you in a while. Oh, hold on one second. Okay, so the word ki, we're in chapter 7, verse 14. No, man, let's go. By the way, I got very exciting news for everybody here. Look here. We just ordered white velvet kippas for Yom Kippur. Let's say Yeshiva Seli Melech. So on Yom Kippur, you're not going to show up to, or Rosh Hashanah, and Yom Kippur, you're not going to show up with a blue or a black kippah. You're going to show up with a white kippah that says Yeshiva Eli Melech on it. That's the way we walk into the yeshiva, like a boss. We walk in the right way. It says yeshiva. We got to get one to you in Canada, Rabbi Yosef. Let's see if you. We got to get one to you in Canada. Okay, so we're in chapter 7, verse 17 and 18. We're looking at the Rashis. Rashi says here that the word ki here means perhaps, because maybe you will say in your heart, how will I be able to wipe them out because they're too numerous? I will not be able to drive them out. So therefore you should say, don't say that. Don't be afraid of them. That's basically what Rashi says it means. So we're in verse 19 now. Verse 19, Elon, verse 19. Hamasot Agdolot, the great tests, Asharau Einecha, that your eyes saw, Va'otov v'amoftim, and the signs and the wonders, Va'yad HaChazakah, and the outstretched arm, Va'azron Ituyah, Va'yad HaChazakah is the strong arm, Va'azron Ituyah is the outstretched arm, Asher Atzem Hotziacha Hashem Elokecha, that God took you out. Ten Yaseh Hashem Elokecha L'chol ha'amim asher atayim. So God will do to all the nations before whom you fear. Okay, let's see what these words mean. Rashi says, "Masot are nisyonot, the tests that this is the time where basically Moshe said to Paro, test God. Vaotot, these are the signs. Rashi says that when the staff became a snake, and the blood and the plagues and the blood and the dry land became blood. I know it became blood when it's on the dry land. Now moftim, these are the makot, these are those signs. The yada chazakah, this is the pestilence. Zoronitiyah, this is the cherev, this is the sword of makot bechorot. And then God sent. What's the weapon God will use? V'gamet hatzira yishalach Hashem elkecha bam. God will send the tzira, the hornet, send amongst them ad avoda nisharim v'nistarim mipanecha, until the survivors and the hidden ones perish before you. Meaning to say, the nations of the world, God will send a hornet upon them, a little tiny bug which will destroy them. Rashi says this is a min sheretz ha'of, a species of a flying insect. She'aytazoreket ba'mara, that will shoot bile at them, umisarastan, and make them impotent, umisamat eineihem, and will blind their eyes wherever they are hiding. Now, if you look up the Israeli technology today, I think you'll find that one of the weapons they use to go into the tunnels is a tiny robotic hornet. And they call it the tzira, and they get it from this. I don't know, I just made that up, but I think it sounds good. I think you should look it up. Somebody Google Israeli technology, the hornet. No, I think they do it.
And 2 years ago, we had a killer wasp here in Canada.
Right, Rabbi Yosef says 2 years ago, everybody had a killer wasp in Canada. But I think that they had, the Israeli technology uses a tiny, because to go into these tunnels, how are you going to go into all these places? So they send like a little flying, like a mini drone, which, like they have these drones that they could attack, so they could send a mini drone. Oh, when was that article written? Israel's developing a bionic hornet. A long time ago. I'm sure they have one. They're just not telling us about it. Why should they talk about it? What do they get out of it? Yeah. No, I made it up. I'm saying, but Rashi says here that the hornet this is a flying instinct, which is the weapon of God against the nations. There'll be this special weapon that God will send, which is a flying insect. And I said that Israel is probably developing one. There's an article from 2007. I'm sure everybody's doing it. Like if they can have a drone, and they could have it bigger, they could have it smaller. I mean, I say that, but I have no idea. But it makes sense to me. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much weapons they could carry, but on them, but definitely the future of military technology. Okay, so now the next verse says, "Lo tarotz mimnehem, do not be afraid of these nations. Ki Hashem elokecha bekarbecha el gadol v'norah. Do not be afraid of these nations, because Hashem is in your midst. Hashem is a mighty and awesome God. And God will basically defeat these nations from before you little by little. God will not destroy them quickly. Because if God wipes them out right away, then the cities will be populated by animals. So God wants to have them destroyed little by little, so that the wild animals don't come in and overtake the city. So, and Rashi says, if they do the will of God, they have no. So why are we worried about the wild animals coming in? Didn't we just say if they do the will of God, you don't have to fear of animals? As it says, the wild animals will be at peace with you. So therefore, it's revealed before God that in the future they were going to sin. So even though we're going to sin, God will still only defeat them little by little, so as not to over our city should not be overtaken by wild animals. Verse 23, and God will deliver them before you. And will confound them with great confusion until their destruction. Rashi says, we're going to skip this Rashi. First of all, it's grammatical. Second of all, it's a crucible for me. So we're going to skip it. Okay. V'nasan malchayim biyadecha, and God will deliver the kings into your hands. V'avarta Hashem mitachas hashamayim, and He will wipe out, and you will wipe out the names of these kings underneath the heaven. Lo yisyatzeiv ish b'farnecha arish mincha osam. No man will stand before you until you destroy them. Until you destroy them. Okay, there's no Rashi on that. The idols of their gods you will burn in fire. Lo tachmod kesef v'zahav alayhem. You won't even desire the gold and the silver that's on these gods. You won't take it. Penti v'keshbo, lest you become ensnared by their gold and silver. So it's an abomination for God. So basically, you're going to destroy them. God is going to destroy them in exactly whatever is the best way for you. And when you destroy them, you will not take their gods, because even though their gods have gold and silver, then in the end, somehow you'll be desiring their gods if you get ensnared by their gold and their silver. Do not bring this abomination, their idols, into your house, and become an abominable person and be banned like it. You shall despise them. It's an abomination because it is banned. This is the opening verses of this portion. What a tremendous bolt of inspiration, which we need now more than ever. Hashem is promising us the strength that we'll be victorious to defeat our enemies. We need it now more than ever, Ezra. More than ever. Okay, next verse. Every mitzvah which I command you to do today, you shall guard to do. What's that referring to? Rashi is going to tell us. I love this next Rashi. One of my favorite Rashis in the whole Torah. But first, we'll finish the verse. So you live, or visam, and you'll increase. You'll come and you'll inherit the earth. Which Hashem has sworn to your forefathers. What does this Rashi say? This is such an important Rashi. I want you to remember this forever. This Rashi, you can never forget. Says the Rashi, Kipshuto. The simple explanation means if you keep the whole Torah, then you'll live. But then another Rashi says, Midrash Agadah, says the Midrash, if you start to do the mitzvah, Gemorosa, finish the mitzvah. She'ena nikras el al shem hagomra. A mitzvah is called by the one who finishes it. As it says, V'esatzmos Yosef, the bones of Joseph, Asher ha'u b'nei Yisrael mitzrayim, which the children of Israel brought up from Egypt. Kavru b'Shem, they buried in Shem. But Moshe was the one who was engaged in it. So why did they give the credit to the Jewish people? Because since Moshe didn't finish it, and the people did, it's called by their name. The point is, the mitzvah goes, the full credit of the mitzvah, the name of the mitzvah goes to the one who finishes it. Not the one who starts it, but the one who finishes it. If you're going to start a mitzvah, you finish it. You finish it. You run to finish it. You don't just do the mitzvah halfway. You finish it. What do you make of that? Elon, what do you make of that? What did you say, Ezra? I mean, the whole idea is that you shouldn't do a mitzvah halfway. When you start the mitzvah, you carry it through. You follow it through. You don't do it halfway. Right, you're 100% right, Greg. Lo lechem l'chal more. V'iyata ben chorin. You're not obligated to complete the work, but you're not free from starting with it. But the point is that that's true. You have to start the work. You have to start the mitzvah, but the full credit goes to the one who finishes it. You have to finish the mitzvah. Kol mitzvah. You have to do the entire mitzvah. Amen. Amen, Greg. Beautiful shot. Beautiful shot. Beautiful shot. Okay, so anyway, that's one of my favorite Rashis, that you can't do the mitzvah halfway. You have to do it fully. You can't, that's the whole goal. The goal is you don't do a mitzvah halfway. Let me give you an example. Let's say you're Moshe. I'm just giving you an example. Obviously, it's not really connected to you personally, but I'm just throwing this out there. Let's say your father says, "Oh, Moshe, I'm tired. We just had dinner. Can you carry out the garbage?" And Moshe's like, "Yeah, sure, I'm going to carry." Or let's say your father doesn't ask you. If your father asks you, of course you'd run. Let's say you just see everybody ate dinner, and you're like, "I'm going to carry out the garbage." And you take the garbage, and you take it right to the front door of the house, and you just leave it there. Yeah, I mean, you didn't do the mitzvah. You started it, but you didn't finish it. And then comes along your older brother, and your older brother's going to carry it out. Now, that's the geschmack. That's the geschmack. He carries it out. You just dropped the mitzvah in the front door. You left the garbage bag in the front door. That's what's happening. Like, if you say, I'm going to do this mitzvah, and you just do it halfway, you're not done. You're not done. Do kol mitzvah. Do the whole mitzvah. Then you're going to go to a shul, and let's say you go to shul, but you don't daven properly. Whole mitzvah. You go to shul, you daven properly. You know what I'm saying? You do the whole mitzvah.
But is it worse doing it halfway or not?
It's a very good question. Is it worse doing it halfway or not doing it at all? I would say Moshe is asking a very strong question. And the answer is it depends. It depends. But sometimes it is worse doing it halfway. In that case of the garbage, you'd be better off leaving the garbage in the can, in the kitchen, than carrying it into the door at the entrance to the house. So sometimes it is certainly better not to have started, and a half a job is sometimes worse than no job. It's sometimes worse than no job. So obviously every situation is case dependent, and you shouldn't be afraid to do it because maybe you're not going to finish it. But the point is to inspire you to finish the job. Yeah, Elon. Like, what are you referring to? What are you referring to?
Oh, like,
because that could be worse. If the worst thing for a sin is, Elon is asking, is it the same thing for a sin? So I say for a sin, it's worse, because if you start the sin, but you don't finish it, and somebody else comes along and finishes it, then you're what's called a chotel machpias harabim. You're a sinner who causes others to sin. So let's say you say, what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a ladder I'm going to break into this person's house and steal his money. And so what you do is you bring the ladder over to the window, and then you have second thoughts, and you say, you know what, I'm just going to leave. And now you made it possible for somebody else to break in. So you sinned, and you cause others to sin. Or let's say you know that people are going to badmouth Ploni Almoni. So you start the conversation and say, you hear what Ploni Almoni did? And then, you know what? I'm not going to talk about it. It's too, I don't want to talk Lashon Hara. But you raise the issue. Then you caused others to sin. So with a sin, you've done something worse. Then once you started, you got to finish it. You got to make sure nobody else does it. Anyway, it's called a mitzvah. So let's stop here. And the Daf Yomi tonight at 7:20 will stop here. A big shkoyach to everyone.